Hey gang, Bronco Carl 92 here. Today's project, I'm going to show you how I put a smaller fuel tank in my 92 Bronco. Okay, so putting a smaller gas tank in, that sounds kind of strange. Well, I don't take this truck on very long trips, so I don't need 33.8 gallons of gas hanging out underneath the back of my truck. And the other thing I don't like about it is that I have this ridiculous looking udder sticking down because I have no bumper. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove the plastic 33.8 gallon tank that I put in, and I'm going to replace it with a steel 25.5 gallon tank from an 81 or 82 Bronco. So it's not just a swap over, because in 81 and 82 the trucks were not fuel injected. So I'll show you what I did. Okay, so as I had mentioned earlier, 81 and 82 Broncos were available with a 25.5 gallon tank, but they were only carbureted, so they did not have provisions for an in-tank fuel pump. In 85 and 86, when they first went to EFI, they did an in-tank pump and they did a pump on the rail. And the pump on the rail, I guess it could work. I could have done that. But I prefer to have one fuel pump and no lift pump and a fuel pump. So what I did was I got a sending unit from an 85 and 86. I modified it quite a bit, and of course you see I have this cover plate on the top of the tank now. I basically put an access point in the top of the tank so I can access the fuel pump that I put in there. So let me get this off and I'll show you what I got inside. Okay, so what I actually did was, this ring here is actually from a BMW gas tank, from an old 5 Series from the 90s. And what I did was actually I cut it out of the tank and I made this ring here. Excuse me, I made this square piece here. And basically got to use a factory gasket like this. Made this cover plate and I added the factory Ford vent into it. Okay, so what I did was, inside the tank here, I made a fuel pot out of a piece of 3-inch exhaust tubing, which you can see I welded to the bottom of the tank. There's a fuel pump clamped inside there, and then there's the modified sending unit. So the 92 truck that I have behind me, this sending unit hole is actually 3 5/8 inches. This one here is only about 2 inches, so you really can't get your hands in there or anything to get that pump in place. And originally what I was going to do was I was just going to put the pump in there and weld the top of the tank up, but then you can't change the pump if you ever have to. So the pump I used was the original pump from my gas V10 Dodge. It's a Walbro. It moves about 260 liters per hour, so I think that's a sufficient amount of fuel for the motor I have in the Bronco. So I'm hoping it'll all work. So anyhow, let me get the old tank out, and we'll pop this baby in. All right. So far we've got my ridiculous reverse light off, the fuel filler neck, and I've got the lines undone. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slide a jack under there and I'll get the old tank out. Alright, so I suppose there's no right way and no wrong way to do this, but I've got 3 out of the 4 bolts removed from the skid plate / lower support of the gas tank here. I've got a vice grip in place here, so okay, so now that's out of the way. Now I just got to take the 4 bolts off the back, and then we can pull the clamps off and we'll lower it down. And I've got the transmission jack underneath it. Spilling it. Make sure you're centered. I have no idea how much gas is in this thing. Gas gauge in this truck was always optimistic. So that's a nice way to say it. See, there's got to be at least a few gallons in it though. Sounds like it's pretty empty, actually. And there we have it. So as I was saying before, you can see the sending unit is actually quite a lot bigger on this one than that one is. So okay, so here's the two tanks side by side. The plastic tank, or the 33-gallon tank, is actually 5 inches taller than the steel tank, and all that height is actually below the seam. So you can see where the tank top and bottom are welded together. So that's where we're going to get some more ground clearance out of the back, and you know, better aesthetics. So one other thing I did forget to mention is ever since I've had this plastic tank in this truck, it's been a pain in the neck to fill. You have to put it on real slow, otherwise it would just spit the gas back out at you. I originally thought it was a problem with the filler neck. So new filler neck, new vent line, can't resolve it. So anyhow, hopefully this will also solve my filling problems too. So let me get some things swapped over, and we'll get the tank in place. Okay, so you can see I've got the tank stuck in place, and I've got one strap on it. I just wanted to make sure that everything fit. I have the other strap off. I'm going to show it to you in a minute. I think it's a good idea to put some sort of membrane between the strap and the fuel tank to avoid rubbing and corrosion. I got the straps from Ford Bronco Graveyard. They're some kind of reproductions. They're not like 100% fit, as you can see, because there's a little air gap here, but I assume that once that thing's full of fuel, I think everything will kind of form fit. So the actual factory holes were already in this cross member, so I didn't have to do any drilling. So anyhow, I'll show you what I'm going to do to the strap in a second. Alright, so here's our strap. As you can see, made in USA. It's made by the MTS company in Dubuque, Iowa. Never heard of them, but it's a nice piece of, it feels to be like 16 gauge sheet metal, zinc coated, bent, and the holes line up nice. I'm going to take this tar paper here, and I'm just going to get some trim adhesive, and I'm going to glue it in place, let it settle, and then we'll put the strap in, and I'll do the other one. Okay, so we've got some 3M General Trim Adhesive. It's basically contact spray. It's or contact cement spray. It's pretty strong stuff, as Jake Blues would say. So the way contact spray works, or contact glue, cement, whatever, you got to coat both pieces, let it tack up, and then they'll stick together. Now, of course, this tar paper here is purposely long. I guess there's butyl, there's other things you could use. Tar paper is actually what I had laying around. I kind of didn't think about this until just now. I didn't feel like running out. Alright, we'll let that tack up, put you back on in a sec. Okay, feels a little sticky. Beautiful. So we'll just cut this off, and we'll get this strap installed. Okay, we're back. So here's our strap. I trimmed the edges up, because I could be kind of anal sometimes. Tight. I'm going to climb under and get the other one. Now these are forgiving enough that I don't need that big C-clamp. I also don't have any fuel in this tank, so I don't have to really worry about weight. One. All right, it looks good. Let me take care of the other strap, and we'll continue on. All right, so we're pretty much finished. I managed to suck the tank into place. I forgot that if you look right here, sorry about that, this bolt here is for the upper strap. And if you tighten that that nut up, it actually pulls the tank down into place. So anyhow, I got the filler neck in place. As you can see, the tank's all in. Let me go around the other side. So we have our lines connected. I wired the new style connection that I have here for the sender and the fuel pump, and all we got to do is give it a try. I filled it with gas from the old tank. I pumped it in there, and so let's see if it lights up. All right, I'm going to prime it a couple times, and then we'll try starting it. Okay, so that seemed relatively painless. This pump actually is a lot quieter than the one I took out, which that's actually nice too, I guess. Anyhow, I didn't have to use anything really special to do this job except for these two fuel line disconnect tools. You can get these pretty much anywhere. I mean, you have at the auto parts store, you can get them at Harbor Freight, the Chinese tool store, online. For a couple bucks, and they'll keep you from killing the fuel lines when you take them off. So anyhow, that's all I got. You're probably wondering, why would you take a large tank out that has a nice skid plate around it and put a smaller tank in with no skid plate? So anyhow, I do have a plan for that. I'm going to go see Kenny at the steel place. I'm going to give him some measurements, and we'll do a video on doing a skid plate on this thing maybe the next couple weeks, okay? So, as always, thanks for watching Bronco Carl 92, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.